Smackdown 9/20/24. Chelsea Green is training in a dumpster. Giovani Vinci loses again, his second match back, second loss in a row. Good news is, unlike last week's 10-second loss, this, he lasted 90 seconds. That's what she said. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes meet face-to-face inside of an empty stadium. You had Bayley and Naomi double pin Nia Jax, and post-main event, it took 6 faces, 2 top faces and 2 tag teams, just to try to take on the Bloodline, minus Solo Sikoa. Just Jacob Fatu and Gorillas of Destiny, and it took 6 faces, and they almost didn't even get the job done. And a lot of mutual respect. It's the mutual respect era. We started the show with mutual respect. We ended this show with mutual respect. LA Knight and Andrade. Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. It's Smackdown. September 20th, 2024. A lot to go over, little time to do it. So BC's going to get a huge swig of his extra double shot Dunkin'. You guys get your bevy, sit back, max, relax, let BC drop the facts. Absolutely love the way that this show started off. It's character development at its finest and simplicity at its greatest. So the Bloodline is filing through security, right? They're going through the little beeper machine, and the Gorillas of Destiny are like, whoa, don't touch that. Get your hand away from there. Yeah, so that's some comedy. Jacob Fatu comes through. They're trying to pat this dude down. Jacob is like, you ain't laying a finger on me. Dude's like, I'm just doing my job. Goes to pat Jacob Fatu down again. Jacob Fatu doesn't give a second warning. Jacob Fatu just headbutts the first dude. Super kicks the second. He's taken out security to enter the arena, like backstage area. Guys, that is so simplistic, but so damn good. That's how you build characters. It's not what they're doing in the ring most of the time. Jacob Fatu can go into that ring and demolish somebody, deliver 18 headbutts off the top rope, power bombs through the commentary table. It still takes a lot more, right? Bronson Reed has been demolishing humans inside that ring for weeks. It's still taking a while for fans to really care when he comes through the curtain, right? By now, you would have thought, damn, Bronson's like one of the highlights of Raw all of a sudden. But because he was so mediocre for so long and the booking was so bad for Bronson, you can't just flip it like it's a light switch. It takes a long time, right? That's built. It's equity over time. You have to build that. It's like a credit card. You have to build that interest. So with Jacob Fatu, it's things like this. This is the type of booking. Simplistic at its core, but so beneficial in the long run. You know, you're going to remember that. This dude's coming through security and he just starts taking everybody out just for doing their job. It's one of those things. Just last week, I mentioned this. I forgot if it was the Raw or the SmackDown review. And I said, guys, we have to stop ending the starting the shows. Ending the shows need a cliffhanger, by the way. We have to start doing that more cliffhangers. But start of the show, we have to stop with just the wrestlers entering the backstage area, right? Every single show, we just start with all the wrestlers filing into the arena. They have their luggage, they're smiling, their coffee, right? They're ready for work. If you want to do that once in a while, that's great. I understand that can build suspense, right? Everybody's showing up. You know, anything can happen. They're all there in the arena. But every single show, it's redundancy. It loses its luster. It loses its appeal. If you even want to do it every single Monday night, all right. But start something different with Fridays or vice versa. But every show, we just watch people filing into work. You know, you wouldn't care if Teddy is showing up for his shift at Target, right? Here comes Teddy, and all the other employees are like welcoming. They're all outside. They're chanting him, Teddy, Teddy, yeah. Teddy whips out his box cutter, and you know shit's going to hit the fan. It's time to unload those trucks. No, Teddy just shows up, he punches in, and it's business as usual. You wouldn't put that much focus on it. Once in a while, the wrestlers are showing up to work. Wow, what a concept. I would think so. If you're a pro wrestler for WWE and you're part of the Red brand and it's Monday Night Raw, you're probably not going to show up for a shift at Starbucks. So every time it's too much. So my point is that we made that a focal point of conversation recently. It was literally the Raw or the SmackDown review, I believe, from last week. Right, within 1 week, they switched it up. And I know people within WWE and within AEW listen to the Amplified channel. But I don't even care if that was sparked from our conversation or they just woke up and got a little more creative Friday morning. But it's certainly not a pat on the back, and I'll take zero credit for it. I'm just happy it got done, and we need more of that. If you're just going to do the same thing every single show, just have them show up to the arena with their luggage, smiling with a coffee. Can't you just switch it up a little bit? Something fun happens, right? Bronson Reed is trying to run Braun Strowman over with a monster truck as Braun Strowman is trying to enter the arena with his smile, coffee, and luggage. And here comes Bronson Reed with a monster truck, chasing him in the parking lot. Yeah, that's fun. Jacob Fatu going through security. He doesn't want to be touched. He starts beating up all of security. That's brilliant. Simplistic. Doesn't take a lot of money or resources or planning to do a segment like that. It just takes care, effort. You have to want to produce a good television show. Produce a good segment. Have fun with this. It's pro wrestling. You should be having fun creating it. That was just fun, man. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it was only like less than a minute segment to start off SmackDown. But guys, it does so much for the show, man. I don't know if we've ever seen that, have we? And I've went through many eras, if you will. The Golden Era, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, and now in the Mutual Respect Era of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't recall like somebody coming through security and just beating up all of security. There may have been a segment. If so, and you guys know about it, love to hear it. But I don't believe we've ever seen something like that. So I just thought it was so well done, man. Major props to whoever created that. Major props to Hunter Hearst Helmsley for approving that. That was, or maybe he thought of it. Major props. That is what we need more of, man. It's those little things. They're not so little, and it really helps the show. Especially if you're going to set the tone for the show like that. You're expecting everyone just to come into the arena, right? Oh, here we go again. Get creative. If you're taking away pyro, because that's what they did. They took away pyro, and they replaced it with wrestlers coming out of the parking lot into the arena. It's not going to hit the same, man. Pyro gives energy. Wrestlers coming in with their coffee, probably not. That was so well done, man. That's how you build character development. That right there does a lot more for Jacob Fatu than just headbutting somebody 18 times from the top rope in the middle of the ring. Brilliant. Salute. I got to give a salute to everybody who made that possible last night in that 1 minute segment. All right, we'll move on to the actual show at hand. We kicked off with LA Knight defeating Andrade via BFT pinfall to retain his U.S. championship. Match time was over 15 minutes. Post-match, LA and Andrade showed mutual respect for one another. You guys knew that was coming, man. Mutual respect. It was funny done, right? Funny done? It was funny done. You had LA Knight kind of give a fist pump. Andrade wanted a little bit more respect, an actual handshake. And LA Knight's a little bit of a dick, so he would not unclench that fist. So, and Andrade's a hard ass as well. So he tried to unclench the fist, but LA Knight was keeping it like that. So I think backstage, they were just supposed to show mutual respect, right? That's all Hunter wanted. After the match, just because Andrade is going to lose, but we want fans to look at Andrade still as like a reputable winner. So LA, the champion, still shake his hand. I think it was just supposed to be mutual respect. They never really went over what that means. Andrade's like, all right, we'll shake hands. LA's like we'll do daps. So I don't think they really went over it too much. So at the end, LA's like, just dap me. Andrade's like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to show respect. So he's extending his hand. LA wouldn't unclinch. Andrade gets pissed off, starts like trying to unclinch him. LA Knight at that point is like, no, bro, this is like tug of war. I respect you, but you're not unclinching my fist. You ain't gonna outstrong me. You're not gonna strong arm me literally and figuratively. But LA Knight kept it, so finally LA Knight just like cracked a little bit of a smile and like tried to pull away. Andrade holds up his arm. I don't think Andrade was ever able to unclinch the fist. So LA Knight won the war of strength and attrition. LA Knight was the winner for the match and for the post-match extracurricular respect. If you saw the show, you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully I explained it correctly or good enough for you if you didn't see the show. I know a lot of you guys, you don't watch these shows. You listen to BC's reviews. I appreciate that very much. Putting that stock into BC's word. And on that same note, which I forgot to mention earlier, smash that up if you don't mind. Smash it. Give it a BFT. Or a flying Jacob Fatu headbutt. But help out that algorithm, and it also lets BC know you are fully amplified. Whether you hit the gym today or not, doesn't matter. Smash the up, you instantly become amplified. That's how that works. Anyway, mutual respect between the two after the match. What can you say, man? And it ended the night too, mutual respect. We'll go over that in a little bit. So you started the show mutual respect, you ended it with mutual respect. You just can't help but think, right? We went from the attitude era to the mutual respect era, right? The attitude era. You saw dudes getting like thrown off bridges. You saw wrestlers like fighting all over a supermarket. You saw beer baths. You saw Corvettes being filled up with cement, limousines exploding, monster trucks chasing people. The attitude era to the mutual respect era, where everybody just respects each other now, man. Kevin Owens and Cody having matches as friends, hugging it out. Andrade and LA Knight having a match, respecting each other. Top heel Gunther versus top babyface Randy Orton, and after their match, they're like, fuck it. What's a heel anyway in 2024? What's a top babyface? Let's shake hands. So what? I said that you're a failure, your father's a failure, your grandfather's a failure. Shake hands. It's mutual respect after you have a match. So from everything we saw in the Attitude Era to all the handshakes in 2024, oh, how far we've come. Or maybe not. Maybe we haven't come so far. Backstage, I will say, Andrade came across Mello, and yet again, they brawled. I will say this was their best brawl to date, though. Andrade really laid in with just a hand smash to Mello's face, like very disrespectful. And it just felt very authentic. So then Mello's look on his face, I was like, what the? Like if you saw that in the bar room, you know Mello's coming right back. And it was a really good brawl, actually. Their best to date. But it doesn't get away from the fact that they brawled again. And for those keeping score, this is the 476th time that those two have brawled on this show. And that's just in the last 2 months. 476 brawls in 2 months, Mello and Andrade. And for those keeping score, I'm not even done. For those keeping score, next week, they will have their sixth matchup in just a couple of months. Guys, I'm not like, I play around with some of the numbers, like 476 brawls in 2 months. There might be a slight exaggeration there, but guys, I mean, the honesty is amplified when I say sixth time next week. 6! How many times you need to see him fight or wrestle? Next week. 6th time. I couldn't believe that. I knew it was a lot, but I wasn't like 6. I mean, I'm not really like, I mean, they were like keeping score. They're like Andrade leads 3 to, I think Andrade leads, is it 3-2? I'm like, they're acting like this is the NBA playoffs, man. Like a best out of 7 series. I remember Sheamus was that Sheamus and Drew McIntyre? Sheamus did that like a few years ago. Maybe it was Cesaro and Sheamus. I forgot. There was 2, they did this a while back, and they just had 7, like every week, they just had the same match over and over, and they just called it a best out of 7 series. Weird stuff, man. Speaking of weird, but somehow, for some reason, I really like this. I liked it. It was just so damn odd, this next segment. I gotta get my coffee, you know that, man. The fine folks at Dunkin' crushed it on this double shot, extra. 4th coffee of the morning already, but this one's got the championship title. All right, so Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, they meet face-to-face inside of an empty stadium in Georgia. 18 camera angles. Slight exaggeration, but like 18 cameras, I believe, were used for this. You had dolly cams, crane cams, drone cams, every type of camera you could think of. Probably had GoPros at every other 3 yards. You had Roman Reigns showing up with 12 vehicles. 12 cars for Roman's entrance. You had music playing for the face-to-face promo. I mean, this is, as they say, cinema. This was recorded like an actual scene from a movie. It was very odd, but somehow I really liked it. It was very odd, but somehow I was captivated by it. And I think it has to do with you were just thinking something big has to happen, right? I mean, they put all these resources into it. They have this whole stadium to themselves. These 2 top stars are 50-yard line. You have all these camera angles. You brought in all these cars for Roman's entrance. They made it. I mean, the pomp and circumstance on this was next level. All that was put into this was next level. So you're expecting something, man. Like maybe not AEW Stadium Stampede, but is the bloodline like coming with golf carts through one of the side stadium entrances? You just see Jacob Fatu in a golf cart. I mean, are we going to have like a stadium stampede? But that's not what happened. And that's what made it odd, right? I still liked it. I was still captivated by it. But maybe it was because of the unknown. Like what after their promo, what do they have planned? It's got to be something big, you're thinking. But it wasn't. Like everything they said, guys, could have just been said in the arena at the show. There was no reason to be 50-yard line. Now, trust me when I say, if you are a veteran subscriber to this channel, you know BC loves when you take it out of the ring, out of the arena. Get creative, have some fun with it. It's a television show. So I loved that promo, the way they did it. I'd much rather that than the arena. I would just add more substance to it. Because that was the problem. Everything they said could have just been said in the ring. There has to be more substance to justify the huge production inside of a stadium. That's the best way I can put it. There has to be more substance to justify these 2 wrestlers meeting up in the middle of an empty football stadium. Now, I know the history, right? BC, Roman used to play the football, and in Cody Rhodes, it's Georgia, BC. Now, I get all that, guys. You wouldn't just go like, meet me at the 50-yard line. We need to talk. And all they said, guys, all they said literally was, I got your back if you got mine. That was it. I mean, there was a few words before and after, but the gist of it was Roman asking Cody, what do you want? What is this all about? And Cody just says, I need to know. If I got your back fully, I need to know you got my back. And Roman says, you have my word. And that was it. And then Roman's just like, you're in my way. Like now and in life, you're just in the way. Just get out of my way. And then Roman just walks off, and that was it. So that's what I mean. I loved it. I love that they got away from it and they put all this time and effort somewhere else in the empty stadium. But you could have done so much more. Like even the words, there was no real substance. I need to know you have my back. I mean, I'm just text the dude. Ask Jay. Text him and say, hey, you got my back, right? And as long as you got my back, I got your back. Cool, man. Right? Send him a little fucking smile emoji, right? A little heart if you got to. I don't fucking know. But you didn't have to meet him at a 50-yard line of an empty stadium. You know, I mean, we're having a little bit of fun with it. You know, we're over-examining it, but, we're breaking it down a little more, a little extra. Dissecting it to another degree. But, I mean, that's what I mean. You want to have that believability and realism into it. There would be no reason for them to do what they did just to conduct the business that they conducted. I hope that makes sense. So I loved it. I just wish there was a little more. It didn't have to be a full-out stadium stampede, but if you got the stadium anyway, let's let them fight around the stadium a little bit with the bloodline. That's interesting. And you come back to it a couple of segments, couple 2-3 segments, man, remote controls are down, your rating is going to go up. Instantly. You ain't going to have to wait a week for the buzz to accumulate and people go, oh, I heard what happened last week. I got to watch this week. No, instantly, something like that's going to catch like wildfire. So it's a mixed bag. I really enjoyed it. Really liked it. I was captivated by it, actually. But I was also waiting for like a little bit more. And then he's just like, you're in my way. And he walks off. And I'm like, well, is Jacob Fatu going to run him over with a golf cart, hopefully? Or at least chase him. So that was the big segment to... That didn't really take us out of our one, though. Actually, it was Giovani Vinci. Wait till you hear this. I don't know. This is the weirdest booking for Giovanni. Listen to this. So you had Giovanni Vinci in a rematch with Apollo. Now, if you guys remember, I think it was last week, right? Apollo just beat him via a fruit roll-up in like 10 seconds, if even. Maybe it was like 3 seconds. Dude wasn't even out of his jacket, I don't believe. And we were all kind of like, what? You showed the dude showing up in the car in the parking lot. Looks like they're going to make a big deal. And he just becomes like, kind of like a clown, right? It's like, oh, it's Giovanni. He loses like instantly and then he gets flustered. He's going to play that character. And then in the future, he'll hit like a winning streak. He'll be booked like Baron Corbin, right? Down on his luck, but then he hits the winning streak. So that was last week, and the community really was outspoken, man. Like, even a lot of individuals that praise everything Hunter Hearst Helmsley does, like, you know, there's that sector of fans that Hunter can do no wrong. And if people don't like Hunter's booking, they're like, what? Screw you, man. Everything he touches is gold. But even a big sector of that fan base, of just Hunter Hearst Helmsley can do no wrong, even they were like, we probably should have done a little bit better with Giovanni's booking, Hunter. So that was pretty cool to see. Like the community just kind of came together for that moment and was like, we got to do better. So Hunter obviously heard that and he just doubled down. He's just like, Giovanni lost again to the same dude, Apollo. This time it was 90 seconds, tops. But like a minute and a half. If you blinked, if you went to get a new coffee, the match was already over. Giovanni is shocked again. He's pissed off. This time he attacks Apollo. Just a little attack. Little bit of elbows to the back of the dome piece, something like that. And then he's like, all right, I'm going back to catering to get my triple layered mousse cake. So that was it, man. That was the end of hour number 1. Giovanni Vinci loses again in lightning speed to the same dude, Apollo. And the problem is, it doesn't really do anything for Apollo, right? Nobody the next day, unless you're doing a legit review like BC in the Amplified unit, nobody's really around the water cooler or, in their cubicle at work the next Monday, like talking about Apollo's match. Or if they are, they're talking about how silly Giovanni looked, and that's not how you should portray Giovanni, right? I think that's why everybody was like, what is this doing for Giovanni? Just his character is just a silly dude that loses so oddly real quick. Like, can't we do a little better than that for Giovanni? And again, flip side, Apollo, it doesn't even do anything. Nobody's going, whoa, Apollo's winning at lightning speed. Did you see Apollo with the fruit roll-up last week? And then this week at 90s, Apollo's going to be a champion, the world champion by this time next year. Much love to Apollo. Much respect. The guy's got skill for days, damn. But no, Apollo does not check off every box. I mean, the promos have to be so much better. He's not captivating with the fans, and that has to do with booking first and foremost. I don't even think Apollo has gotten a real chance yet because the booking doesn't even back him. And this type of booking will not help. I won't spend too much. The time we just spent reviewing it equals probably triple the amount of time as last week and this week's match between the two. The review was longer. Maron. Are we at Chelsea yet? I can't wait to start talking Chelsea. Oh, that's coming up after this next segment. This was hour 2 start. Bayley and Naomi versus Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton. So Bayley and Naomi versus Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton. This was a tornado tag, and I'm glad they added that detail because the finish that they had planned, it wouldn't make sense if it's not a tornado tag. Referee Jessica Carr would have to boot. Das! Boot! either Bayley or Naomi from that finish. So I'm glad they paid attention to that and made that tornado tag. Because Bayley and Naomi, both Bay and Nay, pinned Nia. Nia Jax pinned by both individuals, Bayley and Naomi. So neither Bayley and Naomi are not moving to Raw. A lot of people thought when Jimmy comes back, it'll be to reunite Jay. And because Jimmy is now on Raw, Naomi's going to go to Raw. That didn't happen last night. Both of them pinned Naomi or Nia Jax. So the whole stipulation was whoever gets beat goes to Raw. Well, Nia got beat, and there's no way that the champion's getting, unless you flip the champion. And I don't see Liv Morgan going over to SmackDown. I hope that makes sense. It was a weird stipulation. It was like whoever beats her gets the number one contendership for Nia's title. But if whoever loses, they're removed from SmackDown for good. I hope that makes sense. So that's why, like, during the match, Bayley and Naomi were kind of pulling each other off of the cover because that was for a title shot. So even though they're friends, they're also trying to win the match. First half of the match was sloppy, and it was not good at all. Like, you could tell they were just, like, winging it. And like, it seemed like nothing was rehearsed or went over backstage. It was bad. The second half of the match picked up by like 88%, 89%, 90%. It legit, guys, got 90% better in the second half of the match. I don't know if they just found their mojo, but they all started working collectively much better together. Consistency, flow, chemistry, it started to click in that second half. So by the time the pin came, I was more than okay with it because I knew what they wanted to do. They wanted, because Hunter doesn't care about heel versus heel, face versus face. We know that now, right? Because no matter what it is, it's going to end with a handshake anyway. So we all knew this was going to lead to Bayley Naomi next week. So how do you get there? You have them both pin Nia Jax. Backstage, a couple of segments later, Nick Aldis is like, next week, Naomi, Bayley, winner takes on Nia. So this was their easiest way to get to that goal. No harm, no foul. I don't mind this. The ladies really picked it up, and that's a really good thing to see. A lot of wrestlers, man, when they're in that ring and it's going off the track, sometimes you can't put it back on, and it's the worst thing. BC has been in that ring. I got my boys and gals traveling the world doing that very work in this industry. And it's the toughest thing. One of the toughest things is when your match is off the tracks and no matter what you do, you can't put it back on. Taker just mentioned that, right? Undertaker was just talking about his match he was in a tag match. It was like a crown jewel, Saudi Arabia. He was tagging with Kane and they were taking on Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And this was not long ago, just a couple of years ago. So they were much older, or maybe several years ago, but they were much older, right? Shawn's already bald. Hunter Helmsley is like moving 60 paces slower. And the match was off the rails. Like, Taker was trying to find his mojo the entire time. Kane lost his mask, so the whole match he's like pissed off, or he was just losing his mask, something like that. So Kane was pissed off the whole match. Shawn Michaels is pissed because he was just bald now, and the whole match he says he felt he shouldn't even be in there because he wanted to honor his retirement. But Shawn was just not exactly what he used to be, and he was feeling that during the match. And then Hunter Hearst Helmsley is like blowing a quad or something, right? Or tore his pec. It might have been his pec. But he got injured during the match. So everything was off the rails, and no matter what Taker did, he tried to put it on. And Taker said a second match, too, that happened was with Billy Goldberg. That might have also been Saudi Arabia. I don't think Taker does... Yeah, I don't think there's good mojo for Undertaker in Saudi. Because I think that was also Saudi, and it went off the tracks instantly. Like, Bill Goldberg knocked himself out in the back, hitting a door with his head. And he was concussed most likely the whole match. He almost dropped Undertaker on his dome piece a couple, 2-3 times. Taker was trying to work with him, but Billy Goldberg, even when Billy Goldberg is not concussed, it's hard to work with Billy Goldberg. So Undertaker talked about that too. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I have to praise these ladies, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, Bayley, and Naomi, because my examples of The Undertaker, that's 2 examples of Undertaker not able to get the match back on the tracks. And these ladies did that. I'm not saying it was exquisite, the second half, but a stark contrast for the better from half one to half two. Great job by those ladies. I don't mind the finish at all. We'll do Bayley Naomi next week. No matter who wins, we'll show some mutual respect. Let's go on to one of my favorite parts of the night. Chelsea Green inside of a dumpster. I mean, not that we want to see, we love Chelsea Green, right? Or at least BC does. I became a huge supporter of Chelsea Green within the last couple of weeks. It was like an NXT segment where she showed up, started making fun of the crowd, and set up something with Julia. And I was just like, Chelsea Green is a special talent. You don't need her to go in there and try to get 6 stars and This Is Awesome chants and put out bangers. No, Chelsea Green is a superstar nonetheless. And so they had Chelsea Green pumping up this dumpster match with Michin. That's going to be 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks in Nashville. Michael Cole kept calling it Trashville because it's a dumpster match. And so they had Chelsea Green training at a dumpster. She's got the hat, she's got the vest, and she's training. She's trying to go in the dumpster, and she got like bit by a raccoon. So Chelsea Green is like half in the dumpster. She gets bitten by a raccoon or something. And she just cuts this promo, and I'm like, who better than Canyon? That's old WCW wrestler Canyon. Who better than Chelsea Green in this instance to cut that promo? There is nobody right now, man. Chelsea Green was the perfect person for that, and I loved it. This is what I mean. Have some fun. Rather than Chelsea Green backstage with Kathy Kelly or somebody cutting this promo and talking about what she's going to do in the dumpster match, use a little bit of creativity, a little bit of effort, right? Just a little bit of effort. Find a dumpster, get a camera crew, and have fun. Produce a television segment. I love this. They took Chelsea out to a dumpster to cut this promo, and Chelsea did what Chelsea does. Crush the game. Loved it. I'm loving Chelsea Green right now. I'm loving everything she adds to these shows, the value that she possesses and can deliver. Everything that Chelsea is touching right now seems to be hitting gold. Dumpster match next week. Gotta be away, man. I don't know. I see Chelsea. I would have Chelsea win this somehow because the obvious choice is obviously Michin's gonna win, right? I would have Chelsea somehow win this, but if you're gonna have her lose, I can see the comedy afterwards, right? Chelsea's coming out of the dumpster. There's fucking pasta from the night before from somebody. Pasta's on her hair. Fucking who knows? There's some, I don't know. It looks like there's some brown. I don't know, man. Chelsea Green is like flipping out, right? I could see that too if they want to go that route. So that'll be interesting. That's in 2 weeks. That's a dumpster match. It's Michin. It's Chelsea Green. The community will probably be in an uproar because it's not a 6-star matchup candidate, right? It's not Mello and Andrade for the 814th time. But I like this. This is exactly, do it up, man. Character development for just keep on adding value to Chelsea because this is built for her. And find a way creatively to have this bump up Michin in the process. Main event. Let's do it. Main event was Kevin Owens and DIY versus Jacob Fatu and G.O.D. Gorillas of Destiny. Wouldn't be DIY for long, though. DIY is beat up pre-match, so the Street Profits come to the ring. They were just hanging out backstage and catering. Hunter had nothing for them, right? Turned them oddly into heels, put them with Bobby, had nothing for them. Got rid of Bobby, told them to quietly go back to being faces and sit at catering. And so they're sitting there, they're like, dude, DIY guy jumped. Maybe we should go try to get some TV time. So the Profits come out, and it becomes Kevin Owens and Street Profits versus the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu and Gorillas of Destiny. I cannot tell you guys the actual finish. I can't. I went to re-up on my coffee, and by the time I got, it was what I put in my notes. I'll give you exactly what I said in my notes. Couldn't tell you the finish. It was a convoluted cluster buster. I never used the word cluster buster in my entire existence, but I'll tell you this, it sounded pretty good at the time. So I put a convoluted cluster buster. That's right. It's in the notes. Because that's what I came back to. I had my coffee. I'm like, all right, I'm setting up. There's still about 7 or 8 minutes of the show. I'm going to set up for the finish. It was the bell already rang, man. So somebody got DQ'd. It must have been Bloodline getting DQ'd, I'm guessing. And then, guys, no BS here. It became 6-on-3. It took 6 faces to barely take out the bootleg Bloodline. DIY returns from their earlier beatdown. So now you have DIY and the Street Profits out there with Kevin Owens versus just these 3, because I don't believe Solo ever came out. If I'm wrong and I'm mistaken, correct for sure. But I don't think Solo ever showed up last night. So, and then Cody Rhodes came out too to help out Kevin Owens, DIY, and Street Profits. So no Solo and 6 faces versus just Jacob Fatu and Guerrillas of Destiny. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Montez, Dawkins, and they could barely take out these 3. Like, did they think like that's not realistic? Like you ran out of heels, and this is their this is one of the biggest problems for SmackDown. They don't have enough heels. I mean, you got 6 faces, 2 top stars and 2 tag teams facing little old Guerrillas of Destiny and a Jacob Fatu. And it was basically 6-on-3. And then the show ended. They were able to finally send the heels in retreat mode after several minutes of 6-on-3. They sent the heels in retreat mode, and the show ended the same way it began, with Andrade and LA Knight showing mutual respect. Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes showed mutual respect. They just shook each other's hands and hugged it out. Same thing we've been seeing for a month now, right? They faced each other at the last PLE, pay-per-view, and then they hugged after the match. Now, the caveat here, the asterisk, is that they're teasing the Kevin Owens heel turn, but it doesn't make sense. At no point, there's no reason for Kevin Owens to do the turn. It should be Randy Orton to turn on Cody Rhodes. If Orton wasn't in the equation, if Orton didn't desperately need to turn heel, which he does, then absolutely it should be Kevin Owens turning. No question. But you can't have both of them turn right now. It would devalue and dilute Randy's heel turn if you're going to turn Kevin first. I hope that makes sense. And trust me when I say, when Cody takes on Randy, it's got to be Randy as the heel. He's got to be the legend killer. He's got to be the Viper. He's got to be that diabolical heel, right? If you guys want Cody to be a heel in the future, that's fine. Now is not the time at all. So Randy's got to turn. He needs something. Randy needs to be rejuvenated. His career needs to be revitalized, rejuvenated to the highest degree. Because the last several years, just dancing around with 420 Matt Riddle, dancing around with Kevin Owens this year has done nothing for either of them. So that's the problem with teasing Kevin Owens. It makes no sense even if he does turn. You're devaluing and diluting the Randy Orton heel turn. So we just keep teasing that, and then they just keep hugging it out. It's mutual respect to start the show. It's mutual respect to end the show. It's mutual respect during the show, with Bayley and Nia literally hugging each other in a backstage segment. It's just a lot of love in the WWE locker room. I understand it's no longer the Attitude Era, but man, there's just so much respect. Everybody's just concerned with having a good athletic competition in the middle of the ring and then showing respect afterwards. We might have to dedicate a little bit more to storylines, and it's okay, right? Hunter Hearst Helmsley needs to know that it's okay to stay true to heels and faces. It's okay to do that. And it's also okay that if a heel takes on a face, they don't have to show respect afterwards, man. They don't always have to do that either. That was SmackDown. It was Friday, September 20th, 2024. It's now in the books. As of now, by the time you guys are catching this upload, we are 2 weeks away from Bad Blood. So, couple more shows for SmackDown to go, couple more Monday Night Raw. So plenty of time to build this into something really interesting for the majority of the fan base in totality. Until next time, there will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. BC in the unit saying peace. Check you.